As the new year is approaching, I thought I would create a short wish list for some changes I think would help benefit the game. So in this video, we will be going over 5 changes that I think would make the game better for everyone. The first change is a skippable tutorial. When you enter the game, the tutorial is pretty useful. It allows you to learn the basics of Rise of Kingdoms and go from there. Or when you create a new account or a farm account, etc., having to go through that tutorial every single time is so tedious. You know, building the buildings all over again, saving the villagers, recruiting markswomen. It kind of gets repetitive, and even though it's not, you don't find yourself creating an account every day, it'd be nice if whenever I created an account, there was an option to skip the tutorial. The second change is a change that I've heard a lot, and that's streamer mode, or some mode that allows you to hide markers. As it is, for really competitive KVK, streamers kind of have to play on a delay because of the real-time information that you could kind of give. The best way to relay that information in-game is through markers. So this past KVK against 960, for example, I had to stream with a 10-minute delay almost every single time we were fighting. I wouldn't leak any markers or anything like that, or kind of detriment the kingdom in any way. So if there's a way to hide markers, I think that would be really, really helpful, and hopefully that would allow me to not stream with a delay. Third change has to do with combat, specifically dot mode, which is where I do most of my fighting in the open field. But one of the things that sucks about dot mode is if you're fighting from the south and you're attacking an opponent to the north, the portrait icons of your marches actually block vision of potential targets that you can hit. So it is really, really inconvenient to be fighting from south to north. This is something that we experienced a lot versus 960, and not saying that this would turn the tide of that KVK, but there's definitely a disadvantage if you're in the bottom fighting an opponent at the top because of the portraits, especially during dot mode. So the change that I would suggest is maybe moving the portraits around based on where your mouse cursor is, just so that whenever my mouse cursor is to the north of my troops, the portraits will kind of move around. I can see what I'm potentially hitting. The fourth change is a better in-game chat. This is a pretty fast one, but I wish there was a way to create a chat or create a system where it's kind of similar to Discord, because as it is right now, there's only one chat moderator. And I do have an in-game chat, which I haven't really been on too much, but there is an in-game chat and I'm the only one that can remove people or all that kind of stuff. It'd be great if I could have some people that were in charge of that chat, so that, you know, in case I'm gone or something happens, they could kind of moderate it in a way. It's also pretty tedious to kind of find your friends when adding to a chat. For example, if I want to add members, there's no search feature. You have to scroll all the way down to the lettering. I'm on my farm account, so I only have one friend, but in my main account, it's pretty tedious. If I want to add someone to the chat, they add me. I have to scroll all the way down to their letter until I find them. So it'd be great if there was a search feature for the friends list when adding into a chat, as well as just adding more features to this chat instead of it just being a group chat where there's one moderator. It'd be great if there's multiple moderators, and I think there's a chat limit as well in terms of how many people could be added into a chat. It'd be great if they, you know, expanded that limit and kind of allowed people to connect in the game easier from an in-game system, in this case being a chat, because every kingdom that I know, every organized kingdom, most of the time that they communicate is from Discord. And that's not because, I mean, Discord's a really good system, but it's mostly because of the lack of tools in game. So I feel like it'd be great if they could improve the chat in some way. The final change that I actually thought about was being more transparent with the in-game stats. For example, I think the end of KVK stats that they show is really, really interesting. Season accolades. The season accolades at the end of KVK is really cool to see. It'd be great if there was that consistent list, kind of similar to an honor list where it consistently updates. It'd be great if there was the season accolades consistently updated, similar to the honor list in Rise of Kingdoms, because the fact that they have these lists here, I'm gonna guess means that they have the program, the technology, that they store all of these stats regardless. So it'd be great if they could just display the stats out, and then that would create situations where people could grasp the situation in the KVK a lot more, like which kingdom is performing really well, which kingdom's not performing really well. Because as of right now, people have to do these scans, which is practically like a bot which goes through every single governor profile in the KVK, and each kingdom does their own scans, and then there's always like this discrepancy or this drama or whatnot. I feel like making it easier for leadership and just for people to understand what's going on in the game as a whole would be great by consistently having an updated season accolades, like similar to how honor rankings is just always shown. So that'd be really cool. One thing I would also like is if they could add heal time or amount of units healed to the more info page, because although yes, you could look at defeats and see, oh, this is how many times their troops have been defeated, it'd be really cool to see how many troops they've healed, because that directly correlates to how many speed ups and resources they use as KVK alongside deads. Right now, people use kill points to kind of display their open field capabilities and how much that they actually contributed out on the open field. But I actually feel like by showing the healing stat, it kind of shows how dedicated you are to tanking out in the open field, whale tanking, consistently putting pressure out in said open field rather than, you know, moving back or being in the back of the murder ball. Because there are ways to farm kill points, such as cheeseburgering or killing red marches, all that kind of stuff. I feel like having healing as a stat available in more info would just allow people to have more of a grander picture of how people are contributing. And they do keep track of healing because it is season accolades where there's a top healing stat. So that would be really, really cool to see that'd be really cool to see. I think one thing too for the season accolades, if we do it every single, like throughout the season, it'd be great if you could organize it based off your own KD or your own alliance, similar to honor rankings, just to see, you know, the rankings within your own alliance of, you know, who's healing the most, who's killing the most, and who has the most dead troops. There's definitely a lot more changes that I could bring up, such as the armament system. Having to click through every single thing is kind of tedious. If there was like a dispatch all button or all that kind of stuff and make it easier. But they are making some armament changes soon, so I didn't want to bring that up because who knows, they might be bringing those changes. They might be improving that system themselves, as well as the KVK blueprints. They did say in a recent patch note actually that they're planning on making KVK blueprints more accessible, such as the ring, the horn, and the weapons for the iconic system. So we'll have to see. 2024, a lot of things are in the works, but hopefully these 5 minute changes will be implemented to help the game grow.